And we're live. Welcome back to Cypher X Gaming. I'm your host, Cypher. And today we're going to do some dungeons and raids on my main World of Warcraft character. She's a rogue that I've had since around vanilla. So I've put a lot of time and effort into keeping her active and leveled up as quickly as possible. So, like I said, today we're doing some classic raids, some old dungeons, trying to get some mounts, maybe some achievements if I need them. Looks like I'm still up in Icecrown doing the Icecrown event, so let's make haste back to... not that way, apparently. Making haste back to Orgrimmar. It should be easier now that we have a handy-dandy little portal over here. There we go. Makes it so much easier. Oh, excuse me. Alrighty. First things first, we are going to catch a Zeppelin to Gruul, the southernmost tip of Eastern Kingdoms, so the other continent. It's the fastest way to fly over from there to Karazahn, which was a major raid in Burning Crusade. I know that our guild banged their head against that raid many a time. It's kind of nice, but kind of kick in the face to realize that most of these raids can be ran solo now. Oh. It's a bit of a wait, you know, but that's what it is. The going to check on children because they're making noise. C'est la vie, such is the life of a gamer dad. So, over here, this used to be a Zeppelin to Undercity, which is the undead starting area. But due to events in Cataclysm and then into the other expansions, it's no longer viable because it's in a different phase. Sylvanas Windrunner, the leader of the undead, apparently at some point just lost her noggin, destroyed the starting area of the Night Elves, and when the Alliance tried to come after her in the ruins of Lordran, which was a castle, instead of giving it to her, she blew it up. So... These Zeppelins always take a minute, but it's to allow more players to hop on and do their thing. Yes, I'm on a boat. Very, very astute. It's a skyboat. I mean, you have to admit, the way that they decided to do this was kind of ingenious. It's let's just strap a big old balloon on the main body of a boat. And then push it along with a set of gears and fan. Hopefully everybody's reading me alright. I don't know how the audio quality is. I did some tweaking just to see if it'd help. Yes. Over to Eastern Kingdoms, which you can't see because my fat head is in the way. You know, I never understood why it always seemed that there were more people on this than there were in Orgrimmar. Like, where the heck did they all come from? Were they different instances of Orgrimmar? Maybe. These last few expansions have been like, let's phase in and out everything just to screw with everybody. So this first one that I'm going to, like I said, it was originally a raid. There's a 5-man mythic level dungeon. Now, to explain that, you have your normal dungeon, your heroic dungeon, and then your mythic level dungeon. Well, they decided to turn a chunk of the raid into, or most of the raid into a 5-man dungeon where it has pretty good loot and there's a chance for a mount to drop out of this one as well. Actually, there were two, but I already have one of them, which was the kind of hidden one. It was kind of super secret where they had to do this little timed run. You had to click on crystals and do certain things in order to unlock the opportunity to take on this ember dragon, as it were. And depending on how many people you had in your party would dictate its drop rate, and it would modify the drop rate depending on whether or not the person who was in your party had the mount or not. So even if you had 5 players, if one of them had the mount, the drop rate was still only 80%. Alright, make sure it's set to Mythic. And here we go. Alrighty. See this little timer down here.
I'll work to circumvent the tower's magical defenses. You may need to take a more blunt force approach.
That's easy to do.
This goes without saying, but be on your guard. I sense something. A presence I've not felt.
What is this? Star Wars? Return of the Jedi? Well, I guess it would be New Hope, excuse me. But point being is that it's almost an exact line. Now, being a rogue, I can kind of cheat it a little bit. I don't have to take out the mobs as I go through. I can kind of just sneak past them. Makes it a little easier. Feels pretty cheatery. But even with skipping a lot of the mobs in here, it's still a long run. Not nearly as long as the other dungeon that or raid I'm going to do later, which is Icecrown. Icecrown Citadel, where the Frozen Throne and Arthas, also known as the Lich King, resides. Despite being in the phase of a new expansion, you can still go back and do a lot of the older dungeons and raids. Okay, so the first event we're coming up to is Opera. In the original raid version, you wouldn't hit this until about 3 or 4 bosses in. This time, it's the first boss battle that you encounter. You gotta talk to him. He'll ask you to basically be an actor within it. Should be interesting to see which opera it is this time. There's 4 different ones. There's...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We proudly welcome you to this evening's feature presentation.
West Side Story. There's...
Tonight, a tale of romance and rage.
This one is Beauty and the Beast. There's also Wicked, which is Wizard of Oz, which they had in the original version of this raid.
Or will a ghastly curse claim the lives of the prince and his servants? See for yourself whether the rose of passion blooms beneath a beastly veneer. And now, on with the show!
And take your leave. Get off my stage. Now this one's a bit of a difficult one with it being Beauty and the Beast because you actually have 4 different bosses you have to contend with. You have Babylette, which is the Feather Duster. Then you have Luminor, which is the candlestick. You have Cobblepot, or, well, yeah, it's not Cobblepot. Cogglestone, which is supposed to be representative of the stove, I guess, in this one, but it's the clock in the original. And then you have Mrs. Cauldrons, which is supposed to be the tea kettle, actually, from the original. So,
Run away, little girl!
I hate getting disoriented.
Who are you?
But it's not like this really does all that much damage.
You run away like this for dinner. Run away, little girl!
Gentlemen, not a brute like you.
Run away, little girl! Run away.
Okay, looks like we've got 2 of the 4 bosses down.
All the time, I wouldn't run
Luckily
away.
they go down relatively fast, but in order to take out the last one, you have to get the other 3 down first.
Run away, little girl! Run away.
Because if you notice, they have a barrier around them, and then it disappears.
I love books.
It's working! It's working!
There we go. Let's see what sort of loot we got on this one.
Of course, it's
Yes. If it were not for deadly boss mods
Our dinner's
and
together. Those hours
some of
in
the other
library.
add-ons I use,
Brute.
most of these dungeons, although would still be easy, like if you were doing them at content level, would be very difficult otherwise. In fact, actually in our earlier days of raiding,
It is you. Come, my
it
love.
was a standard.
Happily
You
ever after.
absolutely had to have a set number of mods because it would keep you from either dying or otherwise wiping the run. Let's see here. See, if we were doing the timed thing for the mount that I already have, there's this crystal over here, and there's other corresponding crystals that you have to find throughout the raid. But today we're just doing the slightly faster run for the mount, also known as Midnight, from what would have been the first boss encounter from the original raid. Now, if you do the original raid, he still can drop a mount that looks similar, but it's just a fiery warhorse versus Midnight, the named mount. So, as silly as it seems, clearing all of the NPCs is actually in your best interest ahead of time. Otherwise, when fighting the boss in the middle, they will summon all of these NPCs. And apparently I'm on fire. That is no bueno. As a rogue, we're kind of limited in our versatility for multiple pulls. I suppose if you are under combat, you get a little easier time because you have Blade Fury, which kinda, or Flurry, or however it's pronounced, where it allows you to attack more than one target at a time. As you saw that I was using the Fan of Knives ability, which is the only multi-target attack that assassination rogues have. most of this trash is pretty easy to take care of. Well, yes, especially within assassination, you are granted a lot more ability to stun targets. That's its whole thing. I'm going to hide in the shadows, and I'm going to, you know, bonk you on the head and make you not be able to do anything for 4 or 5 seconds while I ramp up. Kind of like that. But it's sometimes faster just to do single target attacks, even as in not all mobs allow you to stun them or sap, which would be to temporarily incapacitate them. It doesn't work against undead, which most of the targets in this dungeon particularly are. Oh, yeah. Especially with the Spectral Charger, with the charge, the stuns from that, or there's like War Stomp. Like you said. Alrighty. Now on to the main attraction. Now this boss has an interesting mechanic. It's horse and rider to a certain life percentage, then they separate, and you have to target one or the other or get both of them down at the same time if you have a large party to do so. That's very true. In a large group of NPCs, if you have enough of them, inevitably someone's going to hit you, even if you are much higher level than they are. Okay. So let's kick this pig. There we go. Yes, I want your horse. Give me your horse. It's such a sexy looking horse. And that's about the extent of that fight. Nope. A item that, had I been doing this original level content, it would have been fantastic to have this. Nice Weeble reference there. Let's see here. One of the other things about Deadly Boss Mods, which is an ad that, you know, gives you a heads up as to what's going on. They'll give you like timers and such in your chat box and all of that. It's my fastest kill on that only took 11 seconds really. So as much as this is a very interesting dungeon, that was pretty much all I came in to do. I know it seems silly, but shy of trying to do the spawn the super secret cat, which I'm not about to do that tonight. Yeah, Jennifer. I think that'll be for another video. I might actually do that as a separate video and put that on my YouTube, which you can find me on YouTube at CypherX Gaming. I will try to put links on my profile for that, as well as in the social media card. You'll find that listed there. Alright, well, since I'm in a relatively safe area right now, I'm going to kind of cheatery cheat. As an engineer, I have a special toy that I've made that allows me to generate a wormhole and automatically teleport myself to a particular zone. Now, mind you, sometimes it can fail, and fail epically. Like, it even warns you. It says, dimensional folding is not fully understood in any capacity. A parachute and medical supplies are best kept on hand. That's very true. There have been some times where I've been teleported so high up in the sky that if I didn't have a parachute or otherwise, it's pretty much instant death once you hit the ground. The other thing has been being caught on fire randomly. So that's never fun. Anyways, to get on with going back to Northrend, where we were before, oddly enough, into Icecrown, where we were before, because I am going to be going to Icecrown Citadel. There's a big old building right there in the middle. Now, this is the normal place where it teleports you with the wormhole generator. So, I'm not caught off guard in the slightest. Fun fact about this mount, this is the Obsidian Nightwing. It actually doubles as a mount that someone else can ride on. Oh, yes. It's not the fall that kills you, it's the sudden stop at the end. Now, when we get into Icecrown Citadel, I will be going through my bags just to clear up bag space. As you get your loot from the dungeons, it will fill up your bags pretty fast. My inventory, which again, this is another add-on that allows me to make it all nice, neat, and organized. There's a lot of things in there. I have to dump some of it. Alright. Yes, as that is important for all raids and dungeons, as I highlighted before you step in, so you don't have to watch the loading screen multiple times. Make sure to set your settings on your portal ahead of time before going in. So, up here on your character's little portrait, go down, raid difficulty, heroic for this one. There's not a mythic setting. Actually, here's the difference. It gives you a little bit of a graphical heads up. So if you have it on normal, that's what it looks like. However, once you switch it to heroic or higher, it turns into a skull, which is pretty handy. I like the raid skull a lot better than the skull on dungeons for heroic, because the one on dungeons it's a lot more muted. It's more in the background, where this is
made an unwise decision.
it's always an unwise decision. But what I'm saying is the skull is more in the forefront and animated, so it's a little more daunting. Yes, rawr, in fact. Alright. God, just coming through here originally, when this was at content level, was something else. We'd never seen a dungeon quite laid out like this, or a raid laid out like this. So, it was a pretty big deal when it first came out. Let's see. Don't need another copy of that. Don't need those. It feels so weird getting rid of, like, armor that... Actually, you know what? I should keep that, because I'm going to have to put it through the little shredder. Make sure to repair all your gear. I have gone too many times where I've run headlong into a dungeon only to be taken out quickly because my gear wasn't repaired. It's a no bueno situation.
Have a good one.
So, the uncorrupted Ashbringer. Of course, High Lord Tyrion Fordring has one. Originally, this was the unattainable sword for so long in the game, and then in, I want to say, Legion, when they introduced the artifact weapons, warriors could then wield one that looked exactly like it. Again, with this, I'm going to stealth past as much of the trash mobs as I can, because it's just it takes forever if I want to sit and go through all of it. It's still a long run though. This is in no means a short raid or dungeon. Yeah, it's with limited bag space especially. Ooh. So these are neat. Oh, I totally didn't mean to trigger one of those. So if you might have noticed, it triggered one of the Bone Guardians, or the Deathbound Ward. The only way you can see those or otherwise deactivate them in not heroic mode is to be stealth.
This is the beginning and the end, mortals.
So, Lord Marrowgar.
To the master
He does a cold flame, he does bone spikes. He is the wiper of raids in this one, bar none. Because too many people always either stood in bad or they didn't understand to not get caught up in the bones or to help each other off of them. Fun fact about this is in the Asian releases of these dungeons, especially this one in particular, in China they don't allow visual representation of bare bone, and the skinned version of it is terrifying to say the least. Now, later on they introduced a vanity pet, or not a vanity pet, but a battle pet that looks just like this guy in miniature form. In fact will yell every once in a while. I apologize, it seems that I'm dropping frames pretty bad. I don't know what's causing it at the moment, so bear with me.
The scourge will wash over this world as a sign.
See, that's the cold flame that I was telling you about. Sometimes these bosses go down faster than I realize it, but then again, on my rogue I'm pretty well geared, and I've run these dungeons so many times it's like second nature. Gotta click the little portal-y do. This was something that would have come in handy when raiding. If you wipe and you have to revive yourself, you end up at the beginning of the dungeon or raid. So this allows you to at least teleport to the last boss area you cleared. So was
you
really
have found
handy.
your way here because you are among the few gifted with true vision in a world cursed with blindness. See through the fog that
Hi,
hangs
Luna.
over this world like a shroud.
You came to check in?
Where true power lies.
Alright, so about this boss, she's kind of a difficult one. In the sense that you have to take out her barrier before she goes down. So with the initial attack, you see she generates a barrier, and then once you get the barrier down, then she goes down pretty fast. And there we go. She spawns different NPCs, but again, being upper level and higher gear level, we're gonna blast through this pretty fast. Alright. Yeah, Unfortunately, if you weren't well vested in this dungeon, there were just so many ways to wipe your raid so fast. Luckily, most of the NPCs in here are too busy infighting, so between the two factions, so you can usually just run right past all of it. Oh look, a bony sky dragon. I mean, bony dragon, I don't know what kind of other dragon there would be, but... Yes. As dumb as that seems, this is another one of those things that wiped raids, or the mistake of going the wrong direction. So on this level, for Horde, you go to the right. For Alliance, you go to the left. If you go the other direction, it's a long run to the right side. So this one was fun, because for the longer version of this fight,
I am Sarfang, brother of
Rise
Roxidar.
up, sons and daughters of the
you
Horde.
used to have to talk to
We battle a hated
this
enemy of
goblin
the
over
world.
here and get
Tsar
a
Odar.
jetpack.
Gorkron, take us out.
And your melee classes, especially your rogues, would be in charge of jumping over to the other boat during the freeze phase of the fight, where you had your warriors
Something
who would
approaching.
fight off the incoming alliance on the deck of the ship. So you had your ranged, your mages, and your
4,
hunters
3,
doing
2,
this,
1.
generating a full bar, and then see, this is the below zero, the freeze phase, where you can't access the cannons, but then this portal, they'll just keep dumping in.
Gorkron, annihilate them.
Alright. Give me the loot. Nothing new, because I think I've actually gotten almost everything in this dungeon, well, in this raid, as a piece of loot at some point on this character. So this is one of the many very long RP events where you have to listen to a lot of dialogue before any action happens. High Overlord Sarfang here has to deal with his undead son. It's all very heart-wrenching.
Gorkron, move out. Champions, watch your backs. The Scourge have been caught.
Join me, Father. Join me, and we will crush this world in the name of the Scourge, for the glory of the Lich King.
What's really interesting about this is that we end up getting Death Knights, which are pretty much this sort of thing where it's not under the control of the Lich King anymore, but still have to have the powers.
Stubborn old, what chance do you have? I am stronger and more powerful than you ever were.
We named him Dranosh. It means Heart of Draenor in Orcish. I would not let the warlocks take him. My boy would be safe, hidden away by the elders of Garadar. I made a promise to his mother before she died, that I would cross the dark portal alone. Whether I lived or died, my son would be safe, untainted. Today, I fulfill that promise.
Finally.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now this fight it took forever because even at the level of gear and everything that I'm at, you see how slow this fight goes. We used to joke that it was the half an hour fight because the damage mitigation from the players to the NPC was so high that you might as well have been a bunch of bees trying to sting a stone. Alright. A lot more RP event on the backside of that, but I actually have more interest to kind of get through all this.
You will have a proper ceremony in Nagran.
This would wipe
next
people.
to the pyres of your mother and ancestors.
Obviously, as I can just run through it now, but like before, when this raid first came out, this would do so much damage that if you manage to make it through the first one, you better play it right or you're going to die by the time the second one hits you.
The chill of this place freezes the marrow of my bones.
Honor young heroes,
reaching out,
no matter how
watching
dire
us.
the battle. Never forsake it.
Hi, Munchkin. Again, sneaking past NPCs. No need to fill up my bags of random stuff. Gotta take care of this guy, though. And, of course, they've got Stinky on this side. And then there's another one that comes down through this side called Precious. And Precious drops an item called Precious's Ribbon. And it's a super rare drop shirt. So it's just an aesthetic piece. But, like, out of all the times myself or my partner has run this, it took until recently until it dropped for either one of us.
No! You killed Stinky! You bang!
And here's Festergut. One of Professor Putricide's children, I guess, is what he calls them.
Yes.
So, this one had a mechanic where it'll flood the area with gas, and then you'll have these spores that act as inoculation. And if you didn't get inoculated, you would end up getting the debuff, which would make your character sit there and vomit uncontrollably. And you couldn't attack while your character was vomiting, so not so good. Yeah, and you barf, and your friends barf, the raid lead barfs while they're yelling at you. It's just not a good time. Nothing like monstrosities with mentality of 3-year-olds, right? Now, here's a mistake almost everybody makes at one time or another, or multiple times, or if they're in here with a group, somebody forgets to do this. You have to click the gas release valve. See, it fills it with orange gas on this side. In order to open Professor Putricide's door in the middle, you have to take out the two different bosses on either side and make sure that their gases, or, well, slime or sludge, fill both sides of the door. Precious does something interesting where it'll spawn zombies, and if it manages to eat the zombies, it heals itself. You know, could make a short fight turn into a very, very long fight. Again, with the same mechanic as earlier, there are sometimes traps in here that will call forth, as we call them, the football team. They're these flesh reapers as you see up on the pipe there. And a team of 6 will attack you. Rotface. Even as ugly as the other one. This one bounces ooze around and creates slime pools, and it's just generally no bueno. Now the professor fight utilizes kind of a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Alright. Before we get into Professor Putricide, I need to take a short intermission to take care of some things real quick. So you could call this a quick potty break or whatever you want to. And I will be back as soon as I can. So see you in a few. Oops, wrong one. That's the intermission. I need the BRB screen. And we're back. Thank you for being patient. Had to do that bio thing. Anywho, so this is a pain in the butt mechanic. So you might as well just run into the fray. So you gotta take out the bugs, run up to the gate, see that it is not open, run back down. Uh-oh, I'm trapped. All the bugs. This one was more of an annoyance than a raid wipe, and you have to kill like a soft number. Like they don't really have a set number, but it's like a soft. You have to kill X in order to open up the top gate. Unfortunately, this debuff, this insect swarm, does not leave you no matter what you do. It's there until the fight's over because it'll stop spawning bugs. As a rogue, this pisses me off because I can't cloak out of it, and I can't use stealth normally, but if I vanish, I get a few seconds to run ahead and use my stealth abilities. See, here comes those oozes, and he's gonna try to become huge. Ooh, I almost got stuck with an ooze. Yikes. Okay, so here for grin and giggles. In this fight, you have to drink one of the potions. Oh, thank you for the follow. You turn into an abomination, and it has abilities to suck up slime and all of that. So it's supposed to fall off once you hit the barrier right here, but sometimes it doesn't immediately fall off. There we go. Why didn't you get the notification? Oh, because you weren't following yet. That explains it. Now on to the blood quarter. This was the plague quarter, essentially. That's an old reference to people who did Naxxramas back in the day. It's one of the other raids that's kind of fun to do, but it's another massive raid. So I might do that on another stream or tonight, depending on if we have the time. Hey, I'm just glad that you made it. That's the important part. Yes, the joke about Snack-ramas to the point where people actually made fan art of a giant flying candy cane laden treat castle thing. Unfortunately, those are NPCs or mobs that you have to kill, so it opens the door. Otherwise, you'll just be staring at the door going derp, and nothing will happen. Luckily, I can ignore most of these mobs. But it's going to auto-trigger the boss once you hit a certain point across the floor.
Now, you shall face their might combined. Rise up, brothers, and destroy our enemies!
Yeah, dinner and fourth meal, yeah, that definitely. More like a holiday dinner, you know, Thanksgiving with the family, as it were. So, fun thing about that fight is, if you notice that there were two of them that didn't have health bars, it's because with the original mechanic of that fight, as you're taking down one, their health pool will bounce to another one of them, and then you have to target that one, and so on and so forth. They also threw these giant floating bubbles of blood that would have debuffs. Pretty nasty stuff, but that's part of the reason why this is the Blood Quarter, or the Crimson Hall, as it's officially called. Hopefully I'm doing alright for sound and all of that. Everybody hear the game and my voice just fine? So, this fight makes me angry, mostly because in my effort to complete a specialized weapon on my warrior that started when this expansion came out, it's not a mechanic that can be done solo. So at some point I have to get a party of like-minded people together just to do this boss, because it has a bite mechanic where she'll bite someone and then they have to bite another player, and then so on and so forth to bounce it around. And it comes with buffs and debuffs. So, and then she has an air phase, but she doesn't usually stay alive long enough to get to the air phase when I do a speed run like this.
You have made an unwise decision.
Just die already. There we go. I remember when a lot of this loot was well sought after. Just taking days and days of heavy raiding just to get through a lot of the mechanics in this raid. Now off to the, I guess you could call it the Frost Quarter, but like it has the life bender in it as well. Bringer. I don't know. I don't readily remember it because it's a mechanic that allows you to skip if you don't have a way to heal the dragon for the mechanic of the fight.
You are nothing more than a traitor. Come, your second death approaches.
How many of them did she take down? I think just the 2. Only reason why it's worth noting is because sometimes they will try to chase you through the raid if you don't kill them in this hallway, because they count as an aggroed mob.
Arise, Argent champions, and serve the Lich King in death!
No! Why was I denied a death by flame?
See,
You must all
there we go.
burn!
Pretty simple, straightforward,
What?
quick.
They died so easily. No matter.
You will too. You will die easily too. There you go.
You were right.
Then help me bring her down.
Ah, Dreamwalker. Okay. So, my bad on what I called her earlier.
Full Tyrion of our progress. You must press on and bring down Sindragosa. Loktar champions.
The
Now,
loss of our comrades was unpreventable. They lived and died in the service of the Argent Crusade.
there's so much audio RPG going on in this.
Done much in this war against the Scourge. May the light embrace you.
Anywho, so we're going to skip that. It's not necessary to progress, thankfully, for those of us who can't do external heals. This one is kind of icky. if you ask me. It's a bunch of spider and otherwise creepy crawlers that come down from the ceiling.
Must not approach the Frost Queen. Quickly!
You have to do 2 waves of the light brown and dark brown ones, and then they summon some Gruul and then the Nerubians. It's one of the many you have to kill all these mobs in order to unlock the Nope Dome. Yes, the Nope Dome. There's actually a couple of them in World of Warcraft that are like that. Like, is it Blackwing Descent? There's one that it's just a tunnel and tons of spiders. In fact, actually, through a lot of Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, insects made a very high level, or high number of NPCs. Yeah, the Karazahn settler. I skipped that before when I was in Karazahn, but yeah, there's a bunch of spiders and just that, and there's a lot of even outside in the world quests like that, where it's like you have to take down spiders or, you know, gathering quests are always the funniest, where you have the, you know, buttless bears and headless cheetahs and what have not. It's like, come on, if it's supposed to be a part you can see, shouldn't they drop it by, you know, just by virtue? Yay, taking out lesser dragons. I'm gonna make its mama mad.
You are fools.
Here she
who have
comes.
Come to this place. The icy winds of
Hoofless
Northrend
Evra,
will
yeah.
consume your souls.
I think she mad, yo. Nope, no stage for you. No stage 2 for you. Now, I saw that somebody called for mammoth. I say nay to the mammoth, and I say yes to the yak. One of the many mounts that has a vendor on the side of it so you can sell things quickly. Oh my goodness. The terrible thing that mages would pull during particular fights where there was, you had to get behind an ice block or something, and when mages would ice block, oh my goodness. So on an unrelated note, I just had to approve a statement because my auto chat mod caught it, thinking that somebody was calling me trash.
Good fortune to our friends.
Anywho, so got rid of my excess in my pockets there. Kyo, do you use an auto chat mod for your stream? Well, I'd rather it be overly aggressive than let a lot through. Alright. Now we're to the big fight. To begin. The Lich King. here we go. Now we're at the top of Icecrown Citadel, up to the Frozen Throne. Here's Tyrion Fordring. How'd he get up here and I had to fight through all that? Oh, poor Bolvar Fordragon. He's that crispity critter up there that you see. Alright, let's get this started. If he could teleport up here, why couldn't he just teleport us up here? Now for another long RP.
We'll grant you a swift death, Arthas. More than can be said for the thousands you've tortured and slain.
No, I'm good. Always gotta stay hydrated or otherwise beveraged.
Your anguished cries will be testament to my unbridled power.
Uh-oh.
So be it.
5,
Gotta apply some poisons real quick.
3, 2, 1.
Maybe that's why it was taking so long to kill some of those. Oops. But when you're at this level, sometimes you just completely forget because it's unnecessary.
2.
Not today, Arthas. Not today. Oh, I'm gonna step out of this now. Now that I'm at a point where I'm not gonna get thrown off the little platform here. Because that's no bueno. I've actually completed this fight when dead off the platform, basically falling into oblivion. But it's because I had got him down to this point already and he had a bleed effect, so his health was still ticked down. So it just finished the RP, and Fordring here rezzed me at the time so that it didn't wipe the encounter, so I didn't have to do it again. Okay, there we go. Yeah, see with Deadly Boss Mods, it tells you about how long this encounter goes, and the RP of the back and forth between the Lich King and Tyrion takes like 2 minutes. There's no way to skip it. So you're just like, her-da-dur, just waiting for it to go by. I'm actually not doing anything. This is just auto-attacking.
Light,
Yeah.
grant me one final blessing. Give me the strength to shatter these bonds.
Not sponsored, but hey, pretty good place. And now the final coup d'etat. Get back down here, Arthas. There we go. Fall on your sword. Anything good? Anything good? Just another pet, which I already have. I mean, at the time, this gear would have been pretty awesome to have had, but, you know, don't need it now. Oh well. Now normally there's a little cutscene there that shows Arthas dropping the helm of the frozen Lich King and all of that, and the shattering of Frostmourne, his sword, but deadly boss mods, with the ad that I use that gives me the little timer, automatically skips that. Let's see. Since we are out here, I think I'm going to go to the vendor first. And then I'm going to go find Dragon Soul. Because that's a raid that I still need a drop out of.
See you later.
It's an older one. It's fun until you get to Death Whisper. Or, not Death Whisper. Spine. Yeah, Spine. Deathwing Spine. Thank you. Because if you don't do the mechanic right, you get thrown off. And then you have to start the encounter again. If you're soloing. Obviously, if you have more people in your raid, it makes it a little easier. You're less likely to completely wipe and have a chance to get back. But, you know, this is me doing some solo stuff, so... Back over to Dalaran, the floating city of mages. Oh, I'm a little miffed. I recently found out that I can't tinker my goblin parachute to my legendary cloak. So I don't have my safety precaution if I fall from a huge height, except for I have a potion called the Sea Mist Potion. Turns me into a cloud, but I only have one of them, so it's my emergency. Much like any neutral city in World of Warcraft, there's the Alliance on this side, which the Horde can't enter, and vice versa over here. Basically, the only thing that happens is you get teleported back out of the area. But, I mean, you're not really missing anything in there. Okay, now that we're back in Orgrimmar in the portal room, look at this sexy portal over here. This is for the new expansion coming out. That drops on Tuesday, so I'll have a whole lot of new content to bring you Tuesday night. That'll be fun. And get to see me fail in real time. But we're going to go down here for right now into the secondary portal room, because we're going to take the portal to the Caverns of Time, which is right dead ahead. Caverns of Time has instances that mimic certain areas within the world that allow it to be an instance versus the outer world where you could explore it normally. Oh, and we're still celebrating WoW's 16th anniversary during this time. That ends on Sunday. So then we start Pilgrim's Bounty, which is an in-game event that's similar to Thanksgiving, but it lasts like 2 weeks. Yes, this is where the Time Walkers do their past, present, future, what ifs sort of dungeons. It's usually not this lively, but again, because of the event. Alright, so where we're going to be going is the Dragon Soul, which is right up over there, so... On my little feather flight fox mount. It's adorable. Apparently, I'm not the only one with the idea of running other dungeons. but that's not surprising. Again, with most raids and dungeons, a lot of it can be ignored. But when this was proper level up content, even just getting to this first boss would be wipe after wipe after wipe, because all of these mobs on the sides can be aggroed. So it just took one person getting feared into the wrong group. Alright. Let's take this stone behemoth down. I forgot he splits.
Advance to the front.
Now, to let you know, a lot of these dungeons and raids that I've been going through, the dungeons are 5 men, but the raids are anywhere from 10 to 25 men. You looking for raid or looking for group? Yeah. Because basically it was like herding cats. Otherwise, because in-game voice, you know, back and forth sucks. So having to use modern day Discord, but back in the day it was like Ventrilo and all of those, you had to have everybody in your vent server, or you just couldn't communicate it in a timely manner to make anything happen properly. Can I buy a vowel? Maybe some more consonants? Yeah, I'm not going to deal with the ice stocks on this one. I'm just going to take down Warlord. I would actually really like a translation to a lot of what, like, the creatures say.
A single general remains. You must make haste.
Excuse me. You'll have to pardon me. Burritos. That was what was... It was burrito for dinner. These are always so ugly, these maws. I wonder if he went to the Golem class of speaking. Or the Golem School of Speech. Now this one, I know he has an achievement, but I would be surprised if I could even think of what it was. Let's see. Nope. Okay, so I need black and yellow. But I think... that's this one. But I think I have to have it happen when he's... Yeah, I have no idea how to do that. Sometimes you run into that where you won't really know how to do the achievement. Oh, excuse me. I have to be very careful when I sneeze. Otherwise, 1, I would blow everybody's eardrums, or 2, blow the top of my head right off.
The flow of darkness abates.
What was that?
It seems you truly are the heroes of legend.
Ah.
The aspects have already gathered and await your arrival. Go now.
Okay, up to the summit and the top of the tower. And with this particular one, you will see me wipe on the spine of Deathwing because I struggle with it. If it gets to be so bad, I might have to come back to that fight. Because after about 3 or 4 times of attempting it, it's easy to get discouraged.
It's no use. The power of the dragon's soul is too great. I cannot wield it safely. The raging forces within it may be the doom of us all.
Then truly, we are lost.
Not necessarily. I believe, yes, it just might work. The focusing iris within the Eye of Eternity may allow us to converge the magical matrix contained within the dragon soul.
Again, the plight of a
See.
gamer dad
Finally turn
having to deal with the munchkins running through every once in a while.
I sense danger. It is a trap, carefully laid for us at this crucial moment.
Ah, yes, all
We
of
have
the
no
different
choice.
dragon aspects.
We must have faith in our allies.
Then I will open the way into the Eye of Eternity. You must not fail, heroes. The future of Azeroth hinges on your actions.
Come on, Kalagos, just open up the portal. Thank you. So fun thing about this is the same area that you fight Malagos, which was the aspect of the blue dragon flight at one point. But he goes crazy and you have to kill him. But it's to be said that he was probably controlled by Deathwing at the time.
With the aspect of time on your side, you stumbled foolishly into a trap. Don't scream just yet, little pups. We'll cleanse
Yeah,
this world
the old gods. But it could be argued that the old gods are what caused Deathwing to lose his noggin. I mean, being the aspect of death does not inherently make you, crazy or murderous.
Not one of you will swagger all you like. You pups
Swag!
have chance. Flee now while you can. You crossed the storm by
So the problem with that fight is at one point it was bugged in that if you did this solo and she mind controlled you, you got stuck because there wasn't a way to click out of it. She wouldn't kill you and she wouldn't unmind control you, so you literally had to exit out of the game, cause it to glitch out, and then get back into the game. Pain in the butt it was.
What
Praise
brings you
the
to me,
Titans.
mortal?
They have returned.
Not entirely unexpected.
Excellent. We will begin the ritual at once.
The ritual will take much from us, as it requires a very piece of our being. We will be weakened greatly.
Heroes. This
And zoom
burden
out for
falls
this
to
part.
you once again.
Because I'm going to have to
You
deal
must
with
protect
dragons
us from
attacking the
Deathwing's
platform.
forces, while we imbue the dragon's soul with the power of the aspects. Speak to me when you are ready to begin.
Let's kick this pig thrall.
Loktar, What is it you wish?
Yeah, there were some default places where you'd end up if your game glitched out and you had to restart.
It is good to see you again, Icecrown. I have been busy in my absence. Twisting your pitiful whelps into mindless abominations, bent only to my will. It was a very painful process.
They are my clutch no longer. Bring them down.
Okay. Now these shadow whelps start spawning. The Twilight Assaulter, as they're called. Now that flame can still hurt me even at this level. Found that out the hard way the last time I was running this. Because where normally, like, the damage done is scaled to the level which you were supposed to be, there's some effects in damage that weren't scaled properly. So, like, it very much can still kill you. Even if you're, like, Mythic geared out. Thank God for throw. I don't know if what I'd end up doing in this if I had to try to manually melee them. How? The fire, it burns! That's not good. Come on. Do you mind? I will have you know, that hurt. Now this one's a weird fight. Because we're not to Deathwing yet as the fight.
Mere whelps, experiments, a means to a greater end. You will see what the research of my clutch has yielded. Nefarian, Onyxia, Sinestra, they were nothing. Now you face my ultimate creation.
Deathwing was kind of a dick of a dad.
The hour of twilight is nigh. The sun sets on your pitiful, mortal existence.
I sense a great disturbance in the balance approaching. The chaos of it burns my mind.
I am the beginning of the end. The shadow which blots out the sun. The bell which tolls your doom. For this moment alone was I made. Look upon your death.
He sounds a lot older than Deathwing, which is funny because he's not.
Now is the hour of twilight.
I guess it's all just a matter of voice actors, right?
Strength of the earth, hear my call. Shield them in this dark hour. The last defenders of Azeroth.
Even at level, he was kind of an easy fight, despite the extra mechanic.
It is done. Our power now resides within the Dragon Soul. Our fate lies with you, Earthwarder.
Teresa, Cairn, I will not fail you. I will not fail this world.
Okay. Up, here we go. Cutscene. Dun dun dun. Now I have to use an Alliance warship. I say that, but really I have no animosity towards the playable side of the Alliance. It's more the community sometimes can be a little more toxic on the Alliance side, in my experience. But that's my experience. I don't speak for everyone.
100% pure adrenaline.
All ahead, fool. Everything depends on our speed. We can't let the destroyer get away. Our engines are damaged.
5,
Sitting ducks up
4,
here.
3, 2, 1.
You won't get near the master. Dragon Riders, attack!
All hands to battle stations. Those monsters away from the ship.
Skipped ahead of a mechanic there, because usually when the dragons come across, they get harpooned, and then you have to kill them from
4,
each side.
3, 2.
But if you target
1.
them while they're flying, you can take them out.
Oriana, give them hell!
Oh, gotta watch out for that. Hooray! Ground effects. Hooray
4,
having
3,
a graphics
2,
card that can actually see
1.
them. No sap for you!
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oriana, give them hell!
I missed the dragon on this side, so you get to see the mechanic. They just reel it in closer, so you have an easier chance of killing it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oriana, give them hell!
And yeah, toxicity among either faction really depends on your server. And, you know, also language barriers. Sometimes that tends to be a problem, because you'll have a myriad of people speaking different languages, and that's totally cool.
4,
you know, everybody should
3,
enjoy games.
2,
But like
4, 3.
when you're trying to communicate
1.
for running dungeons and raids, sometimes it can make it a little difficult. Especially when people aren't willing to communicate.
Concentrate everything on the armored Drake.
And try to take out a dragon there. But I don't think it takes damage until he's away from her. I technically killed him 3 times over before he died. Now, luckily with this next part, if I wipe, I can teleport back to this part of the ship in this timeline.
Fear causes hesitation.
But this fight is difficult for me.
Cause your worst fears to come true.
get rid of that for now. So, in this mechanic, they spawn corrupted bloods. And that other creature that you saw, which you have to have pools of corrupted blood and get it to stacks of 9 before it explodes, and you have to do it in such a time that he can roll and it'll knock it off if you're not careful. So, can be kind of frustrating. See, unfortunately he died before gathering all the corrupted blood. And sometimes that'll happen. I need to stay tethered, otherwise if you walk too far into the middle, it causes the roll to happen more frequently.
3, 2, 1.
Luckily I can be out about this far. Get some pools of corrupted blood. Still tethered, so...
3, 2, 1.
Crap. See, he absorbed blood. But problem is he didn't absorb enough, and if Deathwing rolls before he has a chance to absorb it and get over to the side you're on, then it can actually knock the amalgamation off.
2, 1.
See, like that. And despite, again, being at this level, it can still hurt quite a bit.
2, 1.
To 5.
Three, 2, 1.
Not what I meant to do.
3, 2, 1.
Nope. I didn't make it in time. That is such a difficult mechanic, especially to do solo. Oh, here we go. Not gonna watch the cinematic again. No point to.
Don't worry about me. Stop the destroyer. Ain't you Falana, Darini?
Okay, still tethered.
3, 2, 1.
Get myself tethered again.
Three, 2, 1. Three, 2, 1.
Yeah, I think think after this attempt I'm going to switch where I'm at, because this one is, for some reason, just such a hard mechanic for me to follow. It's actually almost to an embarrassing degree. And the one time that I actually made it all the way through before,
3, 2, 1,
was by pure accident.
Three, 2, 1.
I did not realize you fools were still there.
3, 2. 3, 2, 1.
It's actually kind of embarrassing that this can still hurt.
Three, 2, 1. Three, 2, 1.
He's gonna get knocked off. Dang it. Because you see, the timer is you gotta get him to get 9 of them. And then you have to kill him, so then he explodes.
3,
you know
2,
what, with this? Yeah.
1.
There we go. Anywho, so I'm going to actually try to run something different. Something quick and easy. Just to make myself feel better about myself. World of Warcraft is good for the fact that it has no shortage of dungeons and raids and things to run. Let's see. So, somebody said Gruul's Lair or Mag's Lair. Yeah, let's head out to Outlands. Gonna cheat again using yet another one of my fancy little, toys. Now this one is one of the ones that could really cause problems, because either you can look like somebody who already went through the transporter before you could end up on fire, you could end up bigger, smaller, or an evil twin, or yeah, see, now I look like the person who came through before. At least it was a blood elf, so not looking too bad. Oops. There we go. In Outlands. Let's see. Yeah, why don't we take on Gruul's Lair, because it's right there. Yep. A little bit. Thank you all for being incredibly patient with the fact that I don't have a whole lot of space to isolate myself during a stream, so I'm streaming in my living room where my main computer is set up. I hope someday I'm living somewhere that I'll be able to close myself off for streams. Yeah, living room. Hey, when you're trying to stream, you stream where you can. think we have a stinker who wants to say hello.
Hi.
Come here, sweetheart. Oh, this one's my oldest. This is Luna. She's 4. Say hi.
Hi.
All right, there you go.
Come here, Luna. Hi.
Yep.
Down some of the branches of the top of the tree.
Not yet, sweetheart.
Mommy stuff.
Okay, so this is a quick and dirty raid. In fact, I can take out all the NPCs in this one without, or mobs. Grins and giggles, just look at them sideways. Shoot, I could probably come through this one, you know, with no gear on. Just look at them sideways, and they'll fall over. I'm the smart one. No, I'm the smart one. Ooh. Oh, that was unexpected. I got turned into a sheep. But I like my swirly little bits on my daggers. Pew 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 pew! They're dead, they're dead, they're dead, they're dead. Gruul smash.
Come and die.
That's no way to treat a lady. Down like a chump, didn't even break the ceiling.
Incoming.
Incoming?
I think Lair wanted to come say hi.
Oh, well.
I heard a burble.
We may be visited by my youngest here in a second.
Sizzle's not coming here.
Okay, thank you, Luna. So the space that I'm streaming from also happens to be my computer workspace. So I have bits and bobs. That's actually what's in the container back there, is like all sorts of connectors and additional memory modules and hard drives and all of that. Because I'm a giant computer nerd who also lacks eyebrows, as my partner informed me this evening. So therefore it is hard to read my face. No emotions for you, boah. We'll take care of that later, Luna. Let's see. So, since we're here, we'll go to Hellfire and go to Magtheridon. Another quick, dirty, you know, retro raid. For those unfamiliar with World of Warcraft as much, the zone we're in, Outland, was introduced in Burning Crusade, which was the first X pack or expansion pack for World of Warcraft. There is an additional version of it called Draenor, which is from an alternative timeline. So it's been very interesting to see how they do things with expansions. Oop, hit the invisible ceiling. And once upon a time, in these areas where you see the stars, if you flew across those at the level at the time, you could die in those areas. Like, you'd run into what was known as fatigue, and you'd lose health after a while, and then you could just end up dying, and then you'd have to res, and you wouldn't be able to retrieve your body, so you were wherever you ended up. And if you didn't have flying at that point, that could sometimes constitute a very long run. So here in the center where it says Hellfire Citadel, that's where we're headed. And if you can make it out on the screen, there's a little green circle with 3 blue circles. That's where the raid is that we're heading, is the green circle. Again, this is from an add-on that helps locate where certain dungeons and all of that are. Because in the original user interface for this game, like, there were a lot of assumptions made that, oh, they'll assume you'll happen upon it. I already have my White Hawk Strider. I got that a long time ago. One of those downsides for playing as long as I have, there are very few dungeons and raids that drop mounts that I don't otherwise already have. Now, I don't think this particular one has more than just the original raid setting, mostly because heroics and all of that for raids and dungeons were introduced more in Wrath of the Lich King and all of that. Spooky. Some of these weren't updated, so they still say skull. So when a skull showed up over an NPC or mob's name, usually meant it was 10 or more levels above the player level at the time. I guess they didn't fix that for modern day, runs. Gotta clear out the little summoners. And then Magtheridon will become active. I hit him twice, walked away, and he died. Oh, I was wondering what was hitting me. Apparently I pulled the rest of the dungeon. Oh no! No inventory space! I did the dumb thing and forgot to empty my inventory before coming in here. C'est la vie. That's where we'll get rid of some gray items. No. What the heck? You know what? I'm just gonna make this easier on myself. There we go. Give me Jeeves. Luckily, being an engineer, I have many different ways to pull open something to sell. Oh, hey, I got a pet somewhere along the line that I didn't already have. That is an oddity, because, again, playing for as long as I have, I've collected a lot of the random pets they've placed in here. Before, they were just something cute that would follow you around, and then they introduced the mechanic for I've lost my train of thought. I've been Amtracked. Oh, the battle pets. So, they introduced them as battle pets sometime in the last few expansions. And although in concept it was fun, in reality it is just mind-numbingly boring. Because it is worse than Pokemon. I enjoy Pokemon, but in the reality, don't expect me to have more than 6, on my team that are top level. Oh yeah, like, to give you an idea, in the collections, in the pet journal, I have 433 pets. Only 2 of them are currently at max level. I've got some in the 20s and upper teens, but you look at all the different battle pets and most of them are all just level 1. Now, are you talking about the quest journal or the quest log? Yeah, so originally it was limited to 25. And then they made it to kind of unlimited. And then they were like, nope, can't do that because people end up with like 8 billion quests in their quest log. Let's see. It's another fun one we can run.
You could run Deep Home for your Pimple Dragon if you don't have that.
I'm trying to think. Do you remember what the name of that mount is?
Some kind of stone dragon. Hold on.
Well, that's not helpful. Oh yeah, there's like a bunch from the stone core that I don't have and all of that. But we're actually... What was that?
Try phosphorescent stone drake. Oh wait, no, that's like TLP. That's the wrong one.
Ah. Let's look. Still tons of different drakes to get. Yeah, phosphorescent stone drakes from Deep Home.
You're also looking for the vitreous stone drake.
And yeah, that's from Stone Core.
Yeah. Do you have that one?
No, I don't have either one of those. However, those will be for another night, I feel. Because we're actually already getting to the end of the stream time, so I appreciate everybody who's joined along with me so far. This whole thing kind of started out as more of an experiment than anything else. I actually do want to make it a thing, and I appreciate everyone who comes along with me for the journey. That being said, I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you again for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you in the next stream.